If you're a man over 60, listen closely, because what I'm about to share could completely shift how you think about aging and intimacy. Erectile dysfunction is not a life sentence. It's not inevitable. And despite what you've been told, it's not just a natural part of getting older. What if I told you the real reason your erections aren't as strong as they used to be may have nothing to do with your age, and everything to do with how you eat, sleep, and move each day? I'm Dr. James Ellison, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men just like you regain their performance, energy, and confidence without pills or surgery. Over the decades, I've discovered something simple yet powerful. It's not about quick fixes, it's about your daily habits. While most men chase medications or supplements, they overlook the very routines that shape their health the most, habits that influence testosterone, circulation, and even desire. And here's the good news. You already have these habits in your life. You just need to start using them the right way. In this guide, I'll walk you through 5 essential daily habits backed by science that can dramatically boost erection quality, increase blood flow, and restore confidence at any age. In this video, I'm going to reveal what those 5 habits are and why one of them, something you're probably doing every single day, is silently working against your erections without you even realizing it. Fixing it could unlock a major change in how you feel and perform. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn may just give you back a part of yourself you thought was gone. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do that now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip designed specifically to help you stay strong, confident, and in control as you age. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0. I'm here to learn from you and make each video better, more helpful, and more personal. Now that you understand the real root of the problem, and that change is not only possible, but within your reach, let's dive into the very first habit. This one might seem simple, almost too simple, but don't let that fool you. It's backed by powerful science, and for many of my patients, it was the turning point. Habit number 1 is all about how you move, specifically, how you walk. Habit 1, walk like your life depends on it. Because it might. I'll never forget one of my patients, Tom, 68 years old, retired, generally healthy, but quietly struggling with something he was too embarrassed to say out loud. His words were soft, almost apologetic. "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." He wasn't talking about chest pain or cholesterol, he meant in the bedroom. What surprised him most wasn't that I didn't immediately suggest a prescription. It was that I asked him one simple question: how fast do you walk? He laughed, thought I was joking, but I wasn't. The truth is, your walking speed can reveal more about your vascular and sexual health than most blood tests. A recent study found that men who increased their walking pace by just 1 meter per hour without changing anything else had a 76% lower risk of erectile dysfunction. That's not a small improvement. That's a complete shift in how your body delivers. Blood maintains pressure and responds to arousal. You see, your legs aren't just for getting you from one room to another. They are part of a powerful system that pumps blood back up through your body, including to your pelvic region. When you walk briskly over 4 mph, you're not just improving circulation, you're conditioning the very mechanisms that support healthy, strong, and consistent erections. I told Tom what I'll tell you. Start small, walk every day, but not like you're wandering around the grocery store. Walk with purpose, with rhythm, with energy. This simple act tells your body, I'm
still alive and I still care. Within weeks, Tom wasn't just feeling stronger physically. He said, "Doc, I feel like a man again. You don't need a treadmill or a fancy watch. Just a good pair of shoes and the decision to show up for yourself." And while walking may seem like an obvious answer, what we're about to talk about next often goes unnoticed. And it might be the very reason your body can't hold blood where it matters most. Get ready for habit number 2. because this one goes straight to the foundation of your sexual strength. If you're still here and this message is resonating with you, type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me and that this matters to you. Now let's keep going and dive into the second habit that could make a real difference in your life. Habit 2, the 10-minute morning flex that targets blood flow below the belt. There's something I wish every man over 60 knew. Strength in the bedroom doesn't start with testosterone. It starts with your foundation. And by foundation, I mean the muscles you can't
see in the mirror, but that control everything below your waist. Let me share a story. A patient of mine, Harold, 72, came in frustrated. "Doc, I'm doing the walks. I've changed how I eat, but it still feels like my body just won't cooperate when it matters most." I asked him if he'd ever done pelvic floor exercises. He gave me a blank stare. "You mean like Kegels? Isn't that just for women?" That's one of the biggest misconceptions out there. Your pelvic floor muscles, especially a group called the bulbocavernosus and isocavernosus, are directly involved in achieving and maintaining an erection. They're responsible for locking blood into the penis and creating that strong, rigid feeling during arousal. When they're weak, blood leaks out too quickly. It's not just about getting hard, it's about staying hard. I told Harold to start simple each morning while brushing his teeth to do 10 slow contractions of the pelvic muscles. Squeeze like you're trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. Hold for 5 seconds, relax, and repeat 10 minutes a day. That's it. After about 3 weeks, Harold returned with a grin I hadn't seen before. "Doc," he said, "I didn't think such a small movement could make such a big difference, but now I wake up with morning wood again." It's been years. That's the power of reconnecting with muscles most of us forget we even have. It's subtle, private, but incredibly powerful, especially for men who want to regain not just function, but a sense of control. The beauty of this habit is that no one has to know you're doing it. You don't need equipment, just intention, consistency, and a few quiet minutes each. Starkson. Morning to tune into your body again. Now, while your muscles are the engine, what you fuel them with matters just as much. Because the next habit isn't something you do in motion, it's something you put on your plate. And the surprising truth, one simple shift in your eating schedule could change everything about how your body performs behind closed doors. Habit 3. Eat to perform, especially before dinner. I can't tell you how many men I've seen who spend years trying to fix their erections with pills, only to ignore one of the most powerful tools they already use 3 times a day: food. What you eat, and just as importantly, when you eat, plays a direct role in your ability to perform. One of my longtime patients, Richard, 66, came in after struggling with low energy, weight gain, and softer erections. He wasn't eating junk, at least not by today's standards. But like most people, his largest meal came late in the evening, usually after 7:30, a big plate of pasta, maybe a glass of wine, followed by TV and bed. Sound familiar? Here's the problem. When you eat heavy meals late in the day, your body shifts into storage mode. Your insulin spikes, your testosterone drops, and your blood vessels don't relax the way they should. All of that directly interferes with nitric oxide, the molecule that allows your blood vessels to expand and create strong blood flow to the penis. So I asked Richard to make one simple change: eat his largest meal at lunch and keep dinner light and early, preferably before 6:30. Within weeks, not only did his energy pick up, but he started noticing firmer erections and fewer episodes of that frustrating in-between state where desire is there, but performance doesn't follow. It's not about cutting all the foods you enjoy. It's about giving your body the timing it needs to support hormone circulation and sexual function. Think of food as fuel and timing as ignition, and while nutrition lays the groundwork, the next habit is what rebuilds you every night from the inside out. You can walk faster, eat smarter, even do your morning exercises, but if you miss this next piece, your progress may hit a wall. Let's talk about what's happening while you sleep, and what might be silently sabotaging your performance without you ever knowing it. Habit 4. Fix the hidden sleep saboteur. Reverse ED while you rest. One of the most overlooked and most powerful ways to improve your erections happens when you're not even awake. Sleep isn't just rest for men, especially those in their 60s and beyond. Sleep is when the body rebuilds, balances hormones, and restores blood flow. It's when testosterone is produced, it's when your nervous system resets, and it's when your body rehearses erections. Yes, even when you're not aware of it. I remember a man named Dennis, 70 years old, still working part-time, sharp as a tack, but suffering from chronic fatigue and ongoing erectile issues. "I don't feel like I'm sleeping badly," he told me, "but I wake up tired, and I can't remember the last time I had a strong erection in the morning." We ran a sleep study. What we found was something I see far too often: undiagnosed sleep apnea. His oxygen levels were dropping at night. His brain kept waking just enough to break deep sleep cycles, and his testosterone never had the chance to fully replenish. The result, his sexual health had been slowly slipping away without any obvious warning signs. Once Dennis began using a CPAP machine and committed to a better nighttime routine, no screens an hour before bed, no alcohol after dinner, consistent sleep and wake times, the results were incredible. Within weeks, he felt clearer, more energized, and those morning erections, they came back stronger than they'd been in years. Poor sleep steals your vitality. Silently, over time. Fixing it isn't always dramatic, but it is deeply effective. And now that we've covered what your body does while you sleep, there's one final habit we need to talk about. This one's different. It's not physical. It's not hormonal, but for many men, it's the missing link between knowing they can perform and actually feeling like themselves again. Habit 5. Reconnect with touch without the pressure. There's something that rarely gets talked about in a doctor's office, but it's something I see in nearly every man who walks through my door with concerns about his performance. It's not physical, it's not hormonal, it's emotional. It's the quiet pressure men place on themselves to always be ready, to always perform, to always deliver. I had a patient, Alan, 74, who came in after his wife encouraged him to see me. He said, "Doc, we're still close. We still care about each other. But every time things start to get intimate, I freeze up. I feel this pressure like I have to perform. And if I can't, I just shut down." Alan wasn't alone. In fact, many men, Doran, who are perfectly healthy, physically still struggle in the bedroom, not because their bodies don't work, but because their minds are flooded with stress, shame, or anxiety about whether they will work. This habit isn't about exercise or sleep or diet. It's about learning to reconnect through touch and closeness without performance being the goal. I asked Alan to start slow. No pressure, no expectations. Just spend time with his wife, holding each other, talking, touching, without trying to make something happen. Let intimacy return without urgency. Over time, something shifted. As the pressure faded, his confidence began to return, and with that, so did his erections. Naturally, without medication and without forcing it. There's something powerful about creating space where intimacy doesn't have to lead anywhere specific. It allows your nervous system to relax, your stress hormones to settle, and your body to respond the way it was designed to. When a man feels emotionally safe and connected, his body often follows. I've seen this again and again. Sometimes the most effective path to healing is not to push harder, but to release the pressure entirely. So as you think about your own life, your own relationships, ask yourself, when was the last time intimacy felt easy, unhurried, free of expectation? If it's been a while, maybe it's time to let go of the need to perform and rediscover the power of simply being close. Now we've covered 5 habits, 5 daily shifts that, when practiced with consistency, can truly reshape your sexual health and bring back what you thought was lost. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something even more important than the habits themselves. Because none of this will matter if you don't understand what's really at stake and just how much you still have the power to change. Let's talk about that right now. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, I want to take a moment to speak to you, not just as a doctor, but as someone who deeply understands what aging can feel like. The subtle changes, the frustrations. You may not say out loud, the sense that your body isn't cooperating with the man you still feel you are inside, and if you've been quietly battling the slow loss of your sexual vitality. I want you to know there is nothing broken about you. You are not past your prime, and most importantly, you are not alone. Throughout my years in medicine, I've seen how powerful small intentional changes can be, especially when they're made consistently. We've talked today about 5 habits, 5 choices you can begin making starting today that don't require prescriptions, invasive treatments, or complicated routines, just daily actions grounded in real science and proven by real men just like you. We began with movement because how you move through your day matters. Walking faster, even just by a little, sets off a chain reaction that supports your heart, your blood vessels, and ultimately your erections. It's something so simple, but the results I've seen are nothing short of remarkable. I've watched men who were convinced they were done regain a sense of strength and momentum just by picking up the pace. Then we went deeper, literally with your pelvic floor. Most men don't even realize these muscles exist, let alone how important they are. But with just 10 minutes a day, you can begin retraining the very foundation of your sexual performance. The results might not be immediate, but they are meaningful. I've seen men regain firmness and confidence they hadn't felt in years simply because they remembered to flex muscles that had been forgotten. Then came food. Not just what you eat, but when shifting your biggest meal to earlier in the day and giving your body time to rest at night can make a surprising difference in how your body regulates blood sugar, supports testosterone, and sustains energy, not just during the day, but in intimate moments as well. It's not about restriction, it's about rhythm, and your body thrives on rhythm. Sleep followed, and I can't emphasize this enough. Sleep is not a luxury, it's essential medicine. If you're not getting deep restorative rest, your body simply doesn't have the resources to repair, to produce testosterone, or to support the kind of vascular health required for strong, lasting erections. Fixing your sleep might not sound like the most glamorous change, but for many men, it's the turning point. I've had patients thank me, not just because they're performing better, but because they feel awake, present, and alive again. And finally, we talked about something that can't be measured in charts or scans: intimacy without pressure. The emotional side of sex often gets ignored in conversations about men's health, but it is every bit as important. When you remove the burden to perform and instead reconnect through trust, touch, and quiet closeness, something begins to heal, not just in your body, but in your mind. Many of the men I've worked with have said this was the most powerful shift of all, that they finally felt safe to enjoy intimacy again, instead of dreading it. So where do you go from here? You start. That's it. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You don't need to change your life overnight, but you do need to believe that change is still possible, because it is. If you're 60, 70, even 80 years old, this message is for you. If you've been quietly living with shame, disappointment, or frustration, I want you to know something. Your age does not define your worth. Your past does not dictate your future. And your ability to connect, to love, and to feel like yourself again is still very much alive. I've worked with men who had given up hope, men who came to me as a last resort, and I've watched them walk back into their relationships, into their confidence, and into their own bodies, stronger, steadier, more themselves than they had felt in years. Not because of a miracle, but because they showed up every day, chose one habit at a time, and kept going. You can do the same. So take the first step. Maybe it's that walk, maybe it's those pelvic exercises, maybe it's eating just a little earlier. Whatever it is, start today, and then tomorrow, do it again. This isn't just about erections, this is about reclaiming your vitality, your connection, and your joy. You've still got a lot of life to live. Make sure it's a life you feel fully present in mind, body, and heart. You deserve nothing less.